We're here. We're live. Hello, everyone. Let me put my bottom third on. There we go. Let's do all the puns before we get into the intro. Let's see. Rice, baby. Thrice is nice. I don't know if we should do Ben Rice, the San Francisco treat, because, like Rice-A-Roni, that wouldn't work because it's New York. But what a day for Ben Rice. What a game for the Yankees. We're going to talk about that. Then I'm going to answer your questions that I couldn't answer on Friday. And let's just get into this.
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias. This episode of Locked On Yankees is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.yeah. The right stay can make you a fan of any city, even your rivals like the Red Sox. So check out Booking.com for your stay today. What are we going to talk about? What shall we talk about? Because at first I was going to talk about Friday night's game, but now that Ben Rice did what he did, we don't need to talk about Friday. Let's forget about Friday nights. We'll talk about Saturday's game. I will answer your Fanmail Friday questions on Saturday. We'll rename this Send It In Saturday. And in segment 3, you can ask me questions in the chat, or we can just chat if you want to. That'll be fun. Before we get started, don't forget, subscribe to the podcast on whichever podcasting platform you prefer. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube, like our videos, hit the bell so you're notified when our videos go up. And let's talk about Ben Rice. And I'm going to look at your comments right now as we do this. Hi, everyone. Very excited to see you all here. Again, sorry about yesterday. Sorry about the whole week. I wasn't exactly expecting to get an eye infection that would make me go to the ER and get antibiotics and a CAT scan, all this other crazy stuff happening on Thursday. That's how I spent my 4th of July. So I ended up being really tired yesterday, and I just was lying around on the couch, and I apologize. And then the Yankees went out and played the game that they played on Friday night, and I thought, this is just not my week. And then Saturday happened, and thank you, Ben Rice. He hits the leadoff home run, which was great. And you're thinking, okay, cool, at least they started something, but you're thinking in the back of your mind, and I know you all were too, just because of the way they've been playing the Red Sox this year. Like, the Red Sox are going to come back at some point. They're going to go ahead at some point. It's going to be in annoying fashion. And it did happen in very annoying fashion. But then the Yankees decided in the 5th inning to go absolutely crazy and break the game wide open. And you got contributions from other guys that you don't expect them from. DJ LeMahieu had a couple of big hits, which is always nice to see. Verdugo finally hitting a home run. We won't even discuss the Verdugo versus Devers nonsense. That was a whole talking point. And I think Ben Rice kind of erased it a bit, thank goodness, with his 3 home runs. Let's see. Okay. This is what I was wondering. If John Sterling was still calling the game, he'd probably say after each Ben Rice home run, Rice-A-Roni, the New York treat, or something. Yeah, something in that vein. Because, John Sterling's 86 years old. Happy birthday, John. I missed your birthday 2 days ago. And his references were always at least 50 years old. Kind of like me. So anyway, thank God for Ben Rice and his 1,202 feet of home runs that he hit against the Red Sox on Saturday. And just to show you something interesting here. Did I put it up? I thought I did. Oh, maybe I didn't. I might not have downloaded it. I made an image for it and everything. I made a graphic about Ben Rice's home runs. And now I can't find it. See, this is what happens when you do things live. Here, we'll do it this way. I'm going to do it anyway. It was an image that someone had put up on Twitter from Baseball Savant, I believe. But here we go. So even that fly out there, right to straights. I mean, he hit the tar out of the ball even on his out. Like, just amazing. He was amazing. And the The image of him or the video of him being directed toward his curtain call because he wasn't quite sure where to go was pretty funny. That was funny. I appreciated that. So it was a very good bounce back by the Yankees. I will say that, because Friday night was so demoralizing. So demoralizing. 2 outs, 2 strikes, game-tying home run, and you all know. You know how bad the Yankees are in extra innings. You knew they were losing that game. I knew it. I even joked about it on Twitter. I said, well, congrats to the Red Sox, because the Yankees can't ever win extra inning games. And sure enough, and there were some instances in that game that were annoying too, where guys were swinging too early, not taking pitches, and just having horrible results at the plate. They're just terrible. Absolutely terrible. Where'd it go? Hold on. I just saw a comment that I wanted to put on the screen. There it is, from Edwin. 3 home runs in one game always reminds me of when Reggie hit the 3 home runs in Game 6 of the '77 World Series. Yeah, it's not easy to hit 3 home runs in a game. Apparently, Ben Rice is the 4th Yankee to hit 3 home runs in a game against the Red Sox. Gehrig, Tex, Hicks, Rice. Pretty cool. Yes. Yes. The 2 consecutive pop-ups by Judge and Doogie were heartbreaking. And yes, the Yankees are 1-6 in extra innings. They have 1 walk-off against the Tigers. I think that happened in, was that May or April? So it's been a while. But it's not easy hitting 3 home runs. Judge did it last year. But as a rookie, in his, how many games he hasn't even played 20 games yet, right? I think he's under 20 games. Was it 16, 17 games? And he has a 3 home run game. And none of them were cheapies, right? Especially the one that, they say the one that landed in the Judge's chambers and his 3rd home run were the same distance. 406, I believe, was the final tally there. Just unbelievable. And I even joked on Twitter. I said, Cashman, you got your first baseman. No need to look for one. Yankees might be okay there. Maybe look for somewhere like other positions. But I don't know. I feel like some guys will do better when they get more playing time. Oswaldo had a pretty good game. He had a couple of good at-bats. The Doogie bunt was good. The Oswaldo bunt was good. You know, it's always nice to see when professional baseball players can actually bunt with good results, because there are a lot of times when you see that not happen. So, yeah, good game. Very good game. Now let's start Fanmail Friday, or Send It In Saturday, as I'm calling it, because, again, sorry, wasn't expecting to go to the hospital this week at all. So I apologize. And Brian will be back. He should be back for Monday's show. He was also having health issues. It was just not a good week for Locked On Yankees. I don't understand what was happening, but yeah, it was just that kind of a week. So let's start Fanmail Friday very quickly. And we will go to our tried and true insider, Betty. Is it time to take Heel out of the rotation for a few weeks to let him rest his arm and get his confidence back? If so, who could replace him? I don't know who could replace him. I really don't. And I don't know if they need to take him out of the rotation, because they're going to have to do something with his innings, because he's already at the point where he's clearly, you know, he's not doing well. And he's pitching Sunday night against the Red Sox. And yeah, I don't even know who could replace him. I don't know. I don't know how soon Clark Schmidt is coming back. I noticed him in the dugout, but I don't know what's going on with him in his recovery. So they'll probably have to wait for people to come off the IL. I just want him to straighten things out, because he was so good to start the season. And when he hit that wall, he just ran head first into that wall, and it's frustrating to see. But thank you for the question, as usual, Betty. And we'll do one more quick one from Aaron L., another insider. I mostly tune out of sports media after losses for my mental health. What are the best ways you let off steam after a tough loss during a rough stretch like this? Last night, I actually was watching reaction videos on YouTube, people who are considerably younger than me and haven't watched movies that I've seen a million times, reacting to those movies and seeing if they appreciate them. I was watching one young person watching Austin Powers' International Man of Mystery for the first time, and thankfully she found it very funny. So because sometimes you get YouTube reactors who don't quite get some of the movies that we saw when we were younger. They don't get the jokes, they don't get the references. And she didn't get some of the references, but she got most of the stuff and she understood the satire in that movie. So that's how I do it. I just completely tune it out. I don't want to think about it. And I just like to watch silly things, really, is what I do. It just makes life easier. All right. We'll move the last insider question to segment 2. First, don't forget, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button on our videos, hit the notifications so you know when our videos go live. Also, reply to the pinned comment on our videos Monday through Thursday if you want your questions answered for Fanmail Friday. This is not going to be a thing. This is only because of the medical emergencies that have occurred this week. Otherwise, Fanmail Friday would have been on Fanmail Friday. It's not going to be a Saturday thing. Although if you want me to go, let me know if you want us to go live after some games on the weekend. And if we have time to do it, maybe we will, especially a game like today. So let me know if you want to do that. So either put your question under the pinned comment for Fanmail Friday or join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club. There's a link in the description below. You'll get text from me. I will text you back. I was texting back with actually the next person whose question I'm going to answer in segment 2. So that's kind of a fun segue. So coming up next, more of your questions. It's summer, and that means baseball, but summer also means travel. So why not mix the two? Don't you think it's time you explored some of those cities across the country that you secretly wanted to learn about? We're talking about the Yankees' rival cities. Planning a trip to Fenway to see the Yankees take on the Red Sox, Booking.com, makes it a breeze. And it's not just about hotels. You can choose from a variety of accommodations like bed and breakfasts, vacation rentals, resorts, and more, all with the convenience of Booking.com. On Booking.com, you can find the perfect stay even in your baseball rival city. And for Yankee fans, that means more than just Boston. It means Baltimore and Tampa, too. You can book hotels that overlook stadiums. You can book family-friendly resorts. Booking.com has so many choices across the U.S. for your summer travel this MLB season. The right stay can make you a fan of any U.S. city, even your rivals. Book today on Booking.com on the site or in the Booking.com app. And Locked On Yankees is also brought to you by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. From superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more, whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply, and eBay Guaranteed Fit is only available to U.S. customers. Welcome back to Locked On Yankees. Locked On Sports Today is a free 24/7 sports streaming channel programmed for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the noise. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I don't know why that was so difficult for me to say. I've only been saying it for 6 years. Don't forget, You can catch every pitch of the Yankees hometown broadcast with SiriusXM. Just download the SXM app and search the word Yankees. So one more insider question. Let's scroll back up in my rundown. And let's scroll down in my streaming programming so I can get the question on your screen for you. From Shalid. Thoughts on trading DJ? Am I the only one who is done with him? I would like to see if we can get a better player for him. Now, this question, the timing is perfect because of the game that DJ had on Saturday. Again, I was talking about DJ and his performance and how it feels like, the last blip of a dying patient, like the EKG. Like every once in a while, it kind of spikes up and then it just... And he looked better today. He was hitting the ball better, right? And the 2 hits he had were big. And you just need DJ LeMahieu to do that, because you have other guys on the team who are going to hit home runs. So you just want him to get on base and not ground into double plays and not make silly plays like him and Volpe made on Friday night. But I mean, who could you get for DJ? What team is going to take him on? I don't think anyone really would, right? Because there's a lot of money and I don't know. I think that would be hard to do. But thank you for the question, Shalid, and thank you for the text conversation we had earlier in the Insiders Club. That was fun. So now we're moving to YouTube, and one of you is actually here. So let's put up your question, Vincent M. Durham. Do y'all think series losses to the Dodgers, Red Sox, Orioles, Braves, Mets, and getting swept by the Reds expose the weaknesses on the Yankees? Keep up the great work. Yes, I think they did. But here's the thing. The Yankees are definitely not as good as they played in the first, 2 months of the season, but they're not as bad as they've been the last 20 games. There is a happy medium in there somewhere. They're not as bad. I mean, they've been absolute garbage. Let's say it. They've been garbage the past 20 games, and with the exception of today, obviously, but for the most part, absolute trash, and they're not as bad as that, and they're not as good as they were at the beginning of the season. But yes, some of those series have exposed some of the Yankees' issues, if that makes sense. But thank you for your question, Vincent, and I see you in the chat. I see a lot of you in the chat, and like I said, segment 3 we'll be chatting, and you can ask me questions then if you're in the live chat right now. Next YouTube question from Rollum II. The swagger YouTube mentioned about where to go. The Dodgers, the Red Sox series. It was the whole team, right? With the boss's birthday today. So he asked this question on July 4th. What do you think the number one thing he would have done now or in past years? You two are doing great. Get well, Stacey. Thank you for the get well wishes. As you can see, the eye isn't back to normal. It's still, it's just not as swollen as it was. It really looked like I went about 12 rounds with Mike Tyson on Thursday. It was completely blown up, and now it's just bloodshot. So it's getting better. Thank you, antibiotics and eye drops. Yeah, that swagger. Well, I mean, the swagger leaves when you start losing, right? Things are always better when you're winning. And it was nice to see a little bit of that swagger back on Saturday, but they need to build on this because they haven't strung together wins in a while, and they need to string together wins. They need to win on Sunday, and that's a tall order for them right now. And maybe we'll see the swagger come back if they can maybe do better heading into the All-Star break instead of limping into the All-Star break, which they've been doing the past 3 weeks. That's way too early for you to give up on things, Like you talk about teams who are like hitting a wall around the All-Star break, but usually, they have a bad week beforehand. We're coming up on almost a month of this where the Yankees have just looked awful, and they can't do that. It's just not a good thing. But thank you for your question and your comments, Rollum II. Our last question is very long. Robbie Garnes, I see you. So it might take me a while to read this. And hopefully I made the graphic last long enough for me to read this, but here we go. From Robbie Garnes. Here's a completely random topic that you may have touched upon before. I'm not sure if it was on this show, the Michael Kay show, or another creator's channel that I'd find interesting. There's been considerable talk about the Yankees' unique propensity for retiring numbers of good but not great, or at least Hall of Fame players. It's no secret that we were rapidly running out of baseball numbers, and at this rate, we may see triple digits on uniforms in the next 10 years. As a possible solution to this dilemma, I would propose the following. One, identify which numbers we could possibly unretire. These clearly would not include the likes of Ruth, Gehrig, Mantle, etc., but more recent retirees may be a possibility. Two, simultaneously identify key players whom we deem worthy to wear, let's say O'Neill, Posada, or Pettit's numbers. Three, approach the former players or their respective estates, whatever the case may be, and propose honoring these up-and-coming players in this manner. I'll bet many of the players or their estates would be amicable to allowing the right guy to wear their formerly retired numbers. Obviously, their right to refuse would be unquestionable in the final word on the subject. To commemorate this changing of the guard, we could have a ceremony, perhaps on Old Timers Day, in which the old honorees put on the aforementioned numbers with the players or their surviving relatives, helping them. So in that way, it would take out the animosity of reinstating retired numbers, avoid having the absurd-looking hundreds on jerseys, and further imbue the younger generation with an appreciation of the rich history of the greatest franchise in sports. What do you think of this idea? I timed that nearly perfectly. Anyway, I do think it's funny that, yeah, we're approaching triple digits or decimals at this point, or fractions. That would be pretty funny if someone wore like 1.5 or 7 3/4, because you're not stealing 7 from anyone, and you're not stealing 1 from anyone because it has a fraction after it. I don't know. I think the Yankees, they're not going to take numbers away from anyone. I don't think the people who got the numbers retired are going to want to give up the numbers, nor would the estate want to. The Yankees made their bed. They got to lie in it, and they have to. I mean, people are going to have to wear funky numbers. There are enough numbers, I think, right? I mean, there are a lot of retired numbers, but there are a lot of high numbers that guys can wear. And that's just the problem. You're going to see a lot of guys wearing like 87 and 89 and like Ben Rice wearing 93 and Judge. I mean, 99 is a cool number, but you're going to see a lot of higher numbers. And that's just the way it's going to go. It's not perfect, but what are you going to do? So thank you for that very long suggestion, Robbie Garns. And I didn't mess that up too much. I kind of pronounced everything correctly in there. But yeah, thank you for, yes, it was an essay, Edwin. I put it into a word counter and it was 302 words. So, Robbie, I get you, because I can write a lot also. 3,000 word articles were no issue for me. So I feel you on that. I get it. All right, so coming up in segment 3, that does it for all the questions, by the way, for Fanmail Friday. Because there were a few questions that you guys asked that we had answered like the next show or even the show after that. And I thought we didn't need to repeat those questions because Brian and I answered them earlier in the week. So we're done with Fanmail Friday, and we will, you guys can ask me questions, or we'll just chat in segment 3. Here on Locked On Yankees, we pride ourselves with getting you the latest news for your team, whether it's the offseason, the draft, spring training, or the playoffs. It's year-round. But you know what else is year-round? Collection season. Just because tax season is over doesn't mean the IRS will stop coming after you for unfiled taxes. The IRS can garnish your wages, levy your bank accounts, and even seize your property. Don't let the IRS target you. Let the licensed professionals and tax experts at Tax Network USA go to bat for you. With over 14 years experience and an A+ rating by the Better Business Bureau, Tax Network USA has saved their clients over $1 billion in tax debt. Whether you owe taxes, have complicated matters that require tax planning, or finally hit that parlay this season and need help correctly filing, call 1-800-549-1000 or visit tnusa.com/lockedon, and you can see the link in our episode description below. It's summertime. That means it's barbecue season. Stock up on all your grilling favorites and earn cash back on every purchase when you use Ibotta. So you won't have to choose between burgers or hot dogs. You can get both. Ibotta is a free app that lets you earn cash back every time you shop, on hundreds of items from groceries, beauty supplies, toys. You can make sure you're beating inflation no matter what you're purchasing. The average Ibotta user earns $256 per year, which could cover the cost of an entire shopping trip, that flight you've been eyeing, or the fancy dinner you've been craving. Other apps give you points that don't amount to anything. Ibotta helps you earn cash back that you can withdraw from your bank account, PayPal. You can get gift cards as well. You simply add offers in the app, upload your receipt, and voila, the money is yours. You can save on over 2,400 brands and shop at over 1,000 retailers. That includes your favorite grocery stores, Lowe's, Sephora, Best Buy, etc. It's time you joined over the 50 million users that use Ibotta to earn cash back every time they shop. Right now, Ibotta is offering our listeners $5 just for trying the app by using the code LOCKEDONMLB when you register. Just go to the App Store or Google Play and download the free Ibotta app to start earning cash back, and use the code LOCKEDONMLB. That's IBOTTA in the Google Play or App Store, and use the code LOCKEDONMLB. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube, and now it's also available on Amazon Fire TV and the free Fire TV Channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today, now available in the free Fire TV Channels app. And remember, easier said than done. And remember, you can catch every pitch of the Yankees' hometown broadcast with SiriusXM. Just download the SXM app and search the word Yankees. So let's chat. There's a bunch of you here. Hi, welcome. If this is your first time, I don't usually do live shows by myself on Saturdays. I had to go to the ER on Thursday. I was not feeling well on Friday, couldn't do a show. So here we are doing a show. I'm looking at the comments right now to see. That would be funny. Aaron L., how many boxes of Ben's original rice is he going to be signing? That would be really funny. And if people are going to the game tomorrow, they need to do that. Will they let them in? They probably will. If the box is closed, if it's not open, they let you in with food as long as the stuff's not open. And I think the security guards might actually get a kick out of that. So, yeah, that would be hilarious. Let me see if I missed any questions. Talk amongst yourselves while I'm yapping here. So I'm happy that I got to do this live after a game like Saturdays, because if they had ended up having a game on Saturday like they had on Friday, it just would have been a very different feeling. The thumbnail would have been different. It would have been like the original thumbnail with me looking annoyed, but I changed it after the game ended to me being excited about Ben Rice, if you guys noticed that looking at YouTube. But yeah, ask me some questions while you're here. You can ask me anything, actually, if you want. It doesn't have to be baseball related. Just don't make it too personal. But yeah. But if you're joining, and I said I was going to be wearing sunglasses, I decided not to wear sunglasses because I figured my eye doesn't look as bad as it looked yesterday. I do them myself now. Robbie Garnes asked, do I design the thumbnails or have someone do them for me? Steve used to do them. Steve was really, and he was quick with them too. Like, he was really good. And I figured out he used to do them in Photoshop. I figured out how to do them in Canva. I can't do anything too complicated, but I've taught myself how to do a lot of different things now, both in my editing software when I do the videos and when I do thumbnails. So I'm one of those Gen Xers who actually knows how to use technology, which is nice, because some of my generation sort of lean toward the boomer generation and don't like to do certain things. And I kind of lean toward millennial Gen Z, even though I'm Gen X. So yeah. Before the season, I called that Luke Weaver would be a crucial part of the team and that Ben would hit the crap out of the ball in the minors. Let me know if you need more of my takes. Aaron L. Yeah. Well, you know what was really funny? When Ben Rice hit his first home run, my thought, and I didn't say it out loud to anyone, my brother and I were watching the game together, and I just had this feeling that it was going to be a good game for him. Like, I thought in my head, it would be really funny if this turned into the Ben Rice game. And when he hit the second home run, I thought, oh, okay, it's the Ben Rice game. And then he hits the third home run and just, yeah. Mark Wilson. Hey, Stacey, my okay, where did I get this? I think it may have been Fanatics of all places. Just have her look up flowered Yankee hats and she might be able to find it. Like if you Google it and you choose shopping, you might be able to find it. If you watch the show regularly, you know that I like flowered hats. They're all up there. I have 10 of them and that's my thing. So yeah, I believe it was Fanatics. I don't think it was Lids. I have to double check that. But again, if you just Google Yankee hats or Yankee caps, women's and flowers, and images should come up and maybe links to them because I got this before spring training. So I don't know if this is still available, but you can try that. Adam's Yankee cap. Do you use After Effects to make those graphic designs? No. I do not. Do you mean the transition effects that we do in the videos? Because Steve did those too. Thank God for Steve, because if it wasn't for Steve, the show would not look as slick, but I did learn how to do everything. And like I said, I learned how to put everything in the editing system and I learned how to edit everything to make the images so I could put it in like I did today live on the show. So now I don't have to do anything in post and it makes it easier for me to do. And yes, Aaron L. Canva is super. I love Canva because I tried learning Photoshop more than 20 years ago, and I did really like primitive looking Photoshops. I am not good at Photoshop at all. And yes, Steve is not all of them, but he is calling games. He actually got to call a walk-off the other day for the Springfield Cardinals. So that's pretty cool. He's doing a lot of interesting stuff. Not yet, Requinix 17. Sign Ben Rice, $200 million for life. But my favorite thing about Ben Rice is the fact that he's 25 years old, but he has the face of a 14-year-old. And it just looks kind of freaky because he's tall and he has such a baby face. And if you see him from, say, the neck up, he looks really, really young. But then when you see him standing next to someone, you realize how old he actually is. But I just love the joy that he plays with. I really do. And the Yankees needed that injection of youth and joy in the game. And I think that really helped the other guys in the game on Saturday. Yeah, this is true. John the Beagle Dad. All he has to do is become likable to the fan base and keep hitting. Yeah, it's true. Some people stuck around for his post-game interview. Meredith interviewed him after the game on Yes, and they were cheering him. And I thought that was really cool. But yeah, as I said earlier in the show, the Yankees are not as good as they were at the beginning of the season or the first 2 months of the season, but they're not as bad as they've been playing over the past 3 weeks. There is a happy medium in there. They're probably not going to win the division, but they're going to be a playoff team if they can turn things around, if guys come back and they're okay. If Schmidt comes back, he's okay. If F. Ross makes it through his rehab and he's okay because they need those arms in the bullpen. If Rice can keep contributing, if DJ maybe picks it up a little bit, or Oswaldo plays instead, or Oswaldo plays for Glaber while he's out and he contributes. Some guys just need to get it going a little bit, and they're not as bad as they played the last 3 weeks. They're just not. Robbie Garnes asks, have you ever thought of doing a game live stream? They seem time consuming, but maybe a decent upside to them. I joked about doing game live streams on my personal channel. I have like 52 people following me on there. I don't put anything up on my personal channel. It used to be cat videos years ago when I had a bunch of kittens. I'm afraid of doing a live stream because I tend to say bad words when I'm watching games, especially if they don't go well. And we're not allowed to do that here. Our parent company is a TV network company, and we have to follow FCC rules. So, and I wouldn't feel comfortable cursing in front of 100 people. You know, it's one thing for me to do it in my living room, but it's another thing to do it in front of all of you. And you don't need to know how bad my mouth is. It's bad. I'll admit it, but I know when to stop myself from doing that. Dennis. I don't know about Chapman. Robertson, yes. D-Rob, yes. But no, Aroldis Chapman, man. The way he ran out on the team, I don't like that. Nope. Not at all. See, this is the funny part, John the Beagle Dad. He says, my late father used to yell at the TV, and when our neighbors were coming over, they thought he and mom were having an argument. My dad didn't yell at the TV, and he used to get angry with me when I did. He would do the double hand wave, like if he got mad at somebody, just go like that, where I freak out. I admit it, I do. You know, my dad, he got excited about, was it 4 different plays, right? Phil Mickelson winning the, I think it was the Masters finally, right? In 2004. He got excited about that. He jumped out of his seat when John Starks did that dunk against the Bulls in 93. Oh, the Derek Jeter play, the flip play. If you don't know, I have that graphic behind me is a diagram of the flip play from the Oakland playoff series. He jumped out of his seat for that. And there was a 4th one that he jumped out of his seat for. But my dad was not very emotional about sports. I got the anxious gene from someone in my family, not my dad. My dad was always very cool, very calm, very collected. Even when we were at playoff games, he was the one that always calmed me down. And I wish I got that gene from him, but I do not have it. I don't. I know sometimes on the show, I try to make it seem as if I'm Zen. It's an act, people. I am not Zen. Not at all. All right. We're coming up on 40 minutes. I'm going to have to shut this down soon because we're a 30-minute show. But thank you guys for joining me after this really great game. Thank you, Ben Rice. Thank you, Alex Verdugo. Thank you, DJ LeMahieu. We'll discuss more of the series on Monday's show. We'll talk about Cole's performance and certain things that, happened during the series. Richard, are you a newbie? Because I don't recognize your name. Stacey, do you get the vibe? Last night's ugly loss and today's dominant start is a really good run leading into the playoffs. Well, I said earlier in the show, they need to string together a bunch of wins. They can't keep doing this, losing a few games, winning one, losing a couple more, winning one. Like, they really have to string together like 3-4 wins in a row for me to feel like they're finally doing something and that maybe they'll have a chance to do something in the playoffs. This still is a playoff team. There are a lot of things happening right now that are affecting them. Stanton going down was a really big injury. I know people don't like to hear that, but it was. And I think that when they get a couple of more pieces back, like I mentioned earlier in the show, they'll be better. Wait, let me see. Lester Jr. So I watched the game recaps during my bike sessions at the gym. I noticed this last 10 days, my performances were identical to the Yankees ones. Well, that's not good. That's not good at all. You know what? People will think that I'm going to say 2004, but 2004 was like a slow motion car wreck. You kind of knew it was coming. I think my worst moment as a Yankee fan was Game 7 of 2001. I really do. It was just the emotions of 9/11. that whole fall was just emotionally draining. And the way they lost, I didn't speak, and I'm not even kidding. I didn't speak until about 6 o'clock the next day. And I was coming home from a vacation with my best friend. And we were driving home to New York after the Game 7 loss. And at 6 o'clock, we had reached DC because we were down in Wilmington, North Carolina. That's where we were. And I finally was able to speak. I was emotionally drained and I cried for 3 hours after that game ended. I just was a wreck. That was my worst Yankee moment, or Yankee fan moment. So, yes. Same, John the Beagle Dad. Same thing. He said my worst moment as a Yankee fan was when we lost the series in 2001, just after we lost the Trade Center. It really was. Like, if you weren't around back then, if you were too young to remember, it was emotionally draining in the fall of 2001. It was even more emotionally draining if you worked in the city. I worked at NBC. We had an anthrax scare in October of 2001. We got called into a meeting just before lunch. They let us know that Tom Brokaw had anthrax sent to his office. They had to explain to us that since his office was on the 3rd floor and we were up on 26, we were fine because the way 30 Rock was built, every floor had an individual air system. Nothing ran vertical. It was all horizontal, so we didn't have to worry about anthrax getting to us. But, you know, anytime you heard a siren, anytime you were on a subway and it stopped, you just were on edge the entire time. And for the Yankees to do what they did in the playoffs and make it as far as they did when no one expected them to was such a relief for all of us. If you haven't seen, this is a plug. I don't mean to plug this, but whatever. If you've never seen 9 Innings from Ground Zero on HBO Sports, it was a documentary that I was in, and it's about the Yankees playoff run in 2001. It was made 20 years ago. It premiered 20 years ago. I was interviewed for it. And yeah, like I talk about the experiences that we all had during that fall. And again, 9 Innings from Ground Zero. I don't know where you can find it. I don't know if it's on any streaming services. I think someone uploaded it to YouTube. So if you wanted to watch it, you can. Okay, let's end this one more time. You can join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club. There's a link in the description under our YouTube videos. There's a 14-day free trial. You'll get text from us. You can text us questions, comments. You can have conversations during the game. You can leave your questions under the pinned comment below our YouTube videos Monday through Thursday to get your questions answered for the next Fanmail Friday. Again, I know it's Saturday, but I wasn't feeling well on Friday, so we did it today. You can join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club to get top priority, but as you found out today, you still get your questions answered if you ask them on YouTube. And remember, you can catch every pitch of the Yankees hometown broadcast with SiriusXM. Just download the SXM app and search the word Yankees. So thank you all for joining me. I appreciate it. Again, I apologize, was not expecting to be taken to the ER this week. I wasn't expecting it to be such a weird health week for both me and Brian. So hopefully next week will be better. And that will do it for this live edition of Locked On Yankees. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate all of you, always. Honestly, from the bottom of my heart, you know, the fact that we're almost at 6,600 subscribers just blows me away. Every day when I log into YouTube to see how things are going, I just can't believe that many people watch this show. I started at Locked On 6 years ago now, and we started the YouTube channel almost 3 years ago. And I just love that we have our group of people that watch every day, and I appreciate every single one of you. So thank you so much. So that'll do it for this live edition of Locked On Yankees. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias, and we will see you on Monday. Thanks again.